And they had one final chance to speak to the judge today before he made his final decision.
It is only through the grace of God that I am able to stand here today.
And what makes this so difficult is we basically almost lost 2 officers in this whole deal.
I've been doing this for a very long time, and I've never received a phone call even close to this. We'll try to put the pieces together as best we can.
We have all gotten into an argument with a friend or a work colleague, and sometimes they can get really heated. Most times, everyone makes up and life goes on. But other times, especially when alcohol is involved, these arguments can get so completely out of control that someone ends up dead. Sometimes there's a reason, and sometimes we just don't know why these things happen. But what we do know is this next case is one of those that will blow your mind. Let's explore the case of the cop who killed his boss and thought he got away with it. In the quiet town of Pensacola, Oklahoma, a shocking crime would take place that would shatter its sense of peace forever.
The mystery of Manford continues as that Oklahoma town comes to grips with losing their police chief and his right-hand man in the same night during a law enforcement conference in Florida.
On November 10, 2019, Manford Chief of Police Lucky Miller met a tragic end that would unveil a web of deceit, betrayal, and cold-blooded murder that no one saw coming. Chief Lucky Miller, known for his dedication to duty and his commitment to serving and protecting his community, was a symbol of law and order. His authority and reputation extended far beyond the town of Manford and its population of 3,000 residents.
It's really sad because I work here at the convenience store. I've known both of them. They both come in and get coffee, and they're both really nice. Like, I would have never thought it would have happened. They would come in together. They always seemed like they were pretty close to me. I just think it's sad. Should be praying for their families.
His death shocked everyone who knew him.
Those are shoes that we can't fill. Nobody can.
With one cop dead and an outraged public demanding answers, this case has just about all the twists and turns you could possibly imagine.
The discovery made after other hotel guests started complaining about yelling coming from their room.
In 2019, Miller traveled from Oklahoma to Pensacola to attend a law enforcement conference at the Hilton Pensacola Beach Hotel on Via de Luna Drive.
A man in the room next door reported hearing a roaring noise and someone yelling, "Stop it, Mike." A couple in another room even going to the front desk, asking for a room change.
What should have been a routine trip took a dark turn that shocked a nation late in the evening of November 10th, 2019.
Deputies say Miller had no pulse and that his face was his right eye completely swollen. Neely also had injuries to his nose and lip, both which happened when he was pulled off of Miller.
After reports of a disturbance, hotel staff entered the room around 9:30 p.m. and found Miller unresponsive. With him was another man, a cop, and the victim's best friend. That man is Michael Patrick Neely, a seemingly ordinary man and a good cop who was now at the center of this brutal murder investigation. He had accompanied Miller to the conference, and they were sharing a 2-bedded hotel suite. Somehow, the morning after the conference, Neely was the prime suspect of murder. Even the mayor of Manford, Tyler Buttram, was stunned by what happened. So what could have driven one officer to commit such a gruesome act against a colleague and a friend? And just how did Miller die?
If this happened in a traffic stop, it makes sense. If this happened on a search warrant gone wrong, it makes sense. This doesn't make sense.
The evidence was painstakingly gathered and analyzed, revealing a disturbing sequence of events that transpired on that dreadful night. The pair had been drinking together after the conference, and according to later reports, they both had a lot of alcohol in their systems, which, as we know, can often lead to bad things. Miller was 4 times over the legal driving limit, and Neely wasn't far behind. Investigators say a heated argument began between Miller and Neely, which escalated into a physical fight. At some point, Neely unleashed a brutal and fatal attack on Chief Miller. Multiple guests reported violent, disturbing noises, one woman describing the noise she heard as roaring, animalist, not natural.
Maintenance man was sent to find out what was going on, saying he knocked several times and only heard someone making a grunting noise. When he opened the door, Neely was sitting on top of Miller, both men on the floor.
Another witness heard someone shouting, "Stop, stop. If you don't stop it, when we get home, I'm going to fire you. Stop it, stop it, stop it." It was pretty clear that whatever happened in the hotel room, they were both very much aware of it. Investigators would push Neely for answers in the very same interrogation room that he himself had interviewed criminals for the last 10 years.
Any problems or anything going on in the crowd? Just normal dinner or what?
Just normal.
Any drinks there or just dining with?
A couple of beers.
Was it a early dinner, late dinner, or what?
Pretty early.
Neely appears to give short answers, as if trying to give nothing away.
Do you remember hotel staff or a hotel employee coming up and tell you guys keep it down?
I don't remember that.
So what is the last thing you remember as far as that evening until the football game?
I mean, I know you're asking me questions, but can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, homicide. Who is dead?
Dead.
And that would be the story from this cold-blooded killer. He can't remember committing the crime. Many found it hard to believe that someone they had known for so long could do something so horrifying, including Miller's mother.
The grief, the loss has been deep. It's been dark. It's been relentless.
Most days I feel lost, like I don't know who I am or what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't feel like me any longer.
And Miller's widow and 3 grieving children.
The pain and agony we are left with is indescribable. We are left to live the rest of our lives without our protector, provider, and as Carly described it, our superhero.
Officer Michael Neely had his first court appearance in Florida, where he is charged with murdering his boss. Investigators say it happened in a Pensacola Beach hotel room.
The trial, held in a somber courtroom, was a solemn affair that gripped the attention of the entire town. Chief Lucky Miller, a respected law enforcement figure known for his dedication to his job, had been brutally murdered, leaving a void in the community that could never be replaced. Neely, a serving cop and a man with no criminal record, had been taken into custody as the prime suspect in the shocking crime that had shaken the town to its core.
Officer Michael Neely appeared before a Florida judge wearing a green and white jumpsuit. This Hilton Hotel in Pensacola Beach now quiet, but on Sunday night it was swarming with deputies after Manford Police Chief Lucky Miller was found dead. Officer Michael Neely accused of killing him.
The prosecution's case was built upon a meticulous examination of the evidence gathered from the crime scene, witness testimonies, and the alleged perpetrator's actions leading up to and following the tragic event. The courtroom was tense, with the victim's family and friends seeking closure and justice. The prosecution painted a vivid picture of premeditation and calculated violence, and they came out fighting. The prosecution included the forensics reports, which painted a gruesome picture of exactly what happened that night. The medical examiner testified under oath that Miller had taken around 5 blunt force traumatic injuries to his head before death. His body showed signs of and smothering, with discoloration of the face, bleeding of the eyes, and injured neck muscles. It did not look good for former Officer Neely, but Neely's defense team aimed to provide an alternate perspective on the events that transpired. They portrayed their client as a man subjected to extreme stress and emotional turmoil, suggesting that circumstances beyond his control may have influenced his actions. They would claim this to be an accident caused by an alcohol-fueled evening. With a fall like that, they tried to convince the jury it was his weight that caused the life-threatening injuries that night.
I would like to know what happened. Because I'm telling you, I don't have any memory of any of this.
But they also challenged the police department itself. Neely's lawyer, Gene Mitchell, attacked the credibility of the Escambia County Sheriff's Office detective who led the investigation. It seemed like his team was getting desperate. Even the pleas of his own wife could not sway anyone's decision in this case.
This was nothing more than a tragic accident, and I'm asking for forgiveness, mercy, lenience, and true justice that is not made up from assumptions.
After a tense trial, the jury delivered its verdict.
A guilty verdict reached in 2 hours in the murder trial of an ex-Oklahoma detective accused of killing his boss in Pensacola Beach.
We, the jury, find as follows as to the count charged in the information. Count 1, guilty of second-degree murder as charged.
Michael Neely now faces decades, if not life, in prison after an Escambia County jury found him guilty of killing his friend and boss, Manford, Oklahoma Police Chief Lucky Miller.
Chief Miller's life was taken by the hands of his detective, Michael Neely.
He was was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Today, former Oklahoma detective Michael Neely, found guilty of murdering his police chief at a hotel on Pensacola Beach, was sentenced to life in prison.
Lucky Miller's family says they hope the sentence handed down today against Michael Neely will bring them the closure they've been searching for.
They also issued a heartbreaking statement about their tragic loss.
Lucky loved his family and was loved deeply by them. He will be remembered as a God-fearing man, full of compassion and a heart to help others. Anyone who met Lucky knew he had a dynamic personality. He will forever be missed by those that loved and cared for him.
The murder of Chief Lucky Miller stands as a chilling reminder that even in the most unexpected places, darkness can emerge. The community of Manford will forever mourn the loss of a dedicated leader, and the law enforcement community as a whole continues to grapple with the tragedy that unfolded on that November night. Let me know what you think of the case of Lucky Miller. Was it a cold-blooded murder or a drunken accident? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you can keep up with every chilling case.